Alright, so as you can see, our garden has been producing. We have a ton of these black eyes here. This is what's left of our banana peppers. I gotta take the seeds off of those and dry them out for next year. And I did what we're not supposed to do. I bought a bunch of these little plums. The price on them was too good not to. So now I'm gonna work on processing them and turning them into some jam and into a couple pies maybe. The first one I want to do is the pie because it looked really good. I'm just chopping this thing in half. I think I cut it the wrong way, huh? I did. Yikes, these things are going to be hard to pit. Good thing I got a lot of them. Right now I'm trying to get 2 pounds of these to make a pie with. And then we'll see what we do with the rest. My wife sent me a recipe for jam, so I think I will probably make the rest of them into jam. Sounds like someone needed a ambulance or some fire truck or something. Flying by our place at the moment. And if you're wondering why these things are so small, it's because we have had a very bad year for rain so far. Our garden has done well, but I've been watering it. When we went on our vacation, it did not get as much water as I'd hoped it would have. And as a result, it's got some plants out there that are suffering a little bit, but I think they'll be fine and come back to health just fine. So these plums are a lot smaller than the ones you see at the grocery store, or what do you think of when you think of a plum? But they taste every bit as good. So we're excited about that. I don't know, maybe that's one of the reasons why they were discounted. These things were cheaper than what I could find at the grocery store, so I just had to buy them up. I want to say they were, well, actually, they advertised $2 a pound, but she gave me a lot more than what they would have come out at. I bought 5 pounds of Asian pears, and then all of these plums, which is probably another, I don't know, 10 or 15 pounds for $28. So these plums were basically sold to me for about $1 a pound, which if I go to the grocery store right now, they're wanting on sale about $3 a pound for the plums. Maybe a little less, like $2.68 or something, but you're not gonna find plums anywhere near the price that we found them at this place that was selling them. I'm saving these pits because I think I want to try to cold stratify them in our fridge. Hopefully my wife didn't see that. She won't approve of that, but it is what it is. And then see if we can't get some of them to grow around our place. The apple trees that we planted around here have not done very well because I'm not huge into all the pesticides and stuff, and we have a lot of cedar apple rust in our area. But maybe a stone fruit will do better over here, so we'll try to grow some plum trees and see what we can make do. The house that I bought these from was really well set up. They had a small city lot in Roanoke, but they'd made really good use of their land. They had big gardens. She was very hardworking, and I could looked at their garden and said, you know, this is one of those things that I think they might have actually been able to grow a majority of their fruits and vegetables for the year at that garden. A lot of the places you see, the gardens are way too small for feeding a family, and it's just a hobby. Get some food in the summertime. But this lady definitely had a really good setup. Her place didn't speak the best of English, but she's a very good gardener. Now this recipe that I found for making a pie does not want me peeling these things. Leave the peels on, just quarter them. So I have no objection to that at all. I got them washed up, and then now we're pitting them and quartering them. What do you need, Sammy? I'm not sure where the school phone is. Andrew might have it with him in his game.
What game?
The soccer game this morning. Mommy took him to.
Oh. He takes it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully the jam recipe that we've got will not have me pitting them, but have me boil it down and then straining it or something. That might be a better way to get through these than to chopping them all up like this by hand. Well, the more you do something like this, the quicker you get at it. So probably about the time I get the hang of this, I'll be done with the chopping part of it. But I gotta process them through today because some of them are starting to get soft. So maybe I'll take these pits that I'm getting here and throw them in our water diffuser thing that flavors our water, and we'll have like some plum flavored water. See how that tastes. Plum infused water, I guess, is the term that they're using things. Will stem fall into my stuff I'm getting ready to cook with? That would not go over well. We're getting a little bit faster here, at least I can feel. Feels like we're getting faster, I should say. it's a blessing to have an abundance. And I know you're looking on that camera and you're seeing all these black eyes. I probably got a couple of hours worth of shelling to do on those. I don't know how long these, if I have to quarter all these peaches or plums, it's going to take me more than a couple hours there, I'm sure. But, and I said that on that black, some of you are looking at it and say, well, I could get through that a little bit faster. Well, I have a second basket that's just kind of outside of the camera right there, which is just slightly less than what's there. So what I'm saying, I'm looking at both of those baskets. It takes time if you're going to process your garden and get stuff put away, which is a real blessing, to have fresh grown fruits and vegetables. But it's a curse sometimes too, because it doesn't want to do it on your schedule. We were gone for a week, and then we came back and had a VBS at our church, had to drop everything to keep that going. And all the time my garden was saying, I'm overdue being picked, I'm overdue being picked. I need you to come through and do all this stuff. And so now I get a week of trying to get caught back up on that, between processing the stuff that's already out there and saving the seeds. Some of the stuff's gone to seeds, so saving those seeds for next year's garden. And then I've got to weed the garden again. It's really overgrown, and I wasn't going to let it get overgrown this year, but 2 weeks without weeding in the middle of the growing season, it can get away from you real quick. And I have to decide too, because some of those weeds that have come up are purslane, which can go good in salads and things like that. It's a very beneficial plant to be eating. I need to decide whether I want to harvest that or just weed it and throw it in the compost pile. And then I've got grapes that I need to plant. They're in pots right now, but I've had several of them die out because it's just getting too hot for them to be in pots. They need to be in the ground, getting roots there. And I've got a grape arbor that I want to put up out there. I've got to get the supplies to put the top on it and run the wires so that hopefully I can keep my vineyard looking a little bit better. There's lots of projects when you're on a small little farm like we are, a little hobby farm. There's always something to keep you busy. And none of it wants to work on your times table. Yes, we're always pushing to get this done because this needs done and that needs done and so forth. I'm not sure how many of these type of videos I'm going to do because they annoy the tar out of me just to sit there and watch somebody doing a minuscule little task. But it's a valid part of farm life that happens to everyone. And I think there's a lot of people that get into farm life without realizing that working on a farm doesn't necessarily mean being outside in the sun all day. Sometimes it means you're inside all day working with a knife, cutting up things and preparing them to cook, or standing in front of an oven and canning and freezing and doing all that sort of stuff too, which is, in my book, is not the funnest part of being here on a farm. I'd much rather be outside growing or doing things or seeing things, interacting with the animals. But it doesn't make sense for me to grow a ton of food if it's just all going to rot out there in the field. It's got to get harvested, it's got to get processed and put up. Otherwise, everything I do is just wasting my time out there. And even things like the eggs. Our eggs, we're behind on our eggs this year. And that's because we've been gone and I've had other things coming up, other projects I've been working on, so I haven't been as diligent in collecting the eggs every day. So we will have some of those eggs that will be wasted. But that's okay. Because eventually we'll get through the major projects and we'll be able to manage stuff. Building your farm is the hardest part. Once it's built, if you've built it correctly, managing it is a whole lot easier and less time consuming, which is where we are trying to get to with our farm as a management stage, where we've just got all these nice fruits and vegetables and animals and stuff growing on their own, and all we have to do is manage them, get them food, harvest what needs to be harvested, weed the garden, things like that, and then hopefully things will ripen in their season and we won't be behind in one, and we'll get the stuff picked that we wanted to. So our raspberries tried to overrun us this year, but we had some friends over and they helped pick. We sent 2 gallon freezer bags home with them, and that was a big help. I probably put away 2.5 gallons of raspberries into our freezer for us, and that kept that under control. If I work, they're wild raspberries. If I work on culturing them where they'll produce more and expanding them out, a raspberry patch out, then I will be probably looking to do like a pick your own thing or something, let people come on in. I'm at that point where I don't have enough to really do a pick your own and sell it to people. They come all the way out here and like, well, we wanted to pick more than that. You didn't have enough to pick. But I'm at the place where we're getting more than what we need for our family too. So there's that little line there. And if I can get it built up to where we can sell some of them, that would be great. But I've got enough other projects to work on right now that I don't need to focus in on that one quickly. I would like to get some strawberries in our lower field, but there's a lot of equipment I'll have to buy. Little things like that. Maybe put an orchard down there too. We got 7 acres down by a river here, and right now it's just a hay field for our neighbor. He's using it, but we would like to make that a little bit more productive. And if I did 7 acres, if I did 3.5 of strawberries and 3.5 of fruit orchard, I think we would be looking at needing to do a pick your own type place to help us harvest and manage it and pay for it basically. But we will see. I am horrible at judging weight on things. That's just part of who I am. And I'm supposed to have 2 pounds of these plums quartered up like this. And so here in a second, I'm gonna go weigh this bowl. I've already got my scale set up so that the bowl is included into it. So if it gets to 2 pounds, I'll have enough of these plums already done up. And I'm gonna look at my jam recipe at the same time and see if it's gonna require me to cut these things up or not. Well, let's go see if that's a pound or 2 pounds or what we're looking at here. Turns out it was just shy of 2 pounds, so the end is in sight. We'll get these 7 cut up and see if that will bump us to 2 pounds. And I probably want to go a little bit more than 2 pounds. I'd rather have my pie slightly full than not quite enough on the filling. Over full than under full. Of course, I probably don't need any of the pie anyways. I've got enough weight I'm carrying on myself. But when things taste good, they taste good. And it'll almost be a crime not to eat after all this work anyways, right? But saving grace is I've got 4 kids here, another kid in Texas, but the 4 kids here will more than make sure that I don't get very much of that pie. Isn't that how it always works? You pull out the pie at dinner time, and if you don't eat fast, you don't get a second piece of pie. But that's okay. That's what life is about, is helping bring joy to other people. You can focus on doing that in your life and following what God wants you to do. And that's the road to a fulfilled life, a content life. Even if it drives you crazy to sit here and just process things all day. I don't know, maybe we'll do more of these videos. That way you can see the documentation of how I went crazy. Sitting here talking to myself and the camera. Oh. Now, if I do a video on making a plum pie, I won't include all of this in there. You don't have to listen to me rambling all over the place. I'll probably have me chop up 1 or 2, and then I'll be magically done thanks to the magic of video editing. But hopefully, this will let people see there are some things about farm life that is tedious and no fun to do. I don't know, this might be your favorite part of living on a farm, is sitting down and working through the storage stuff. I will tell you, it's a little bit more peaceful. Because if your kids come into the room to ask you something and see you working, half the time they turn back and go the other way because they don't want to get asked to help, right? Our kids do a good job at helping around here most of the time. We do have a few teenagers, so if you got teenagers, you know what that's like. If you have suffered through this with me for this long, go ahead and like, or subscribe, or leave a comment letting me know you made it through to the end. If I see a lot of people expressing interest in this sort of video, I'll do some more of them. Obviously, I've got all these black eyes I can show, but if not, I don't want to post something online that's going to bore you. And sorry if this video has bored you. Of course, if it's bored you, I'm guessing you've already moved on somewhere else and aren't watching anymore, so you didn't hear my apology anyways. But we have the end inside. I'm working on the last one right now. At least I think that's going to put me over 2 pounds slightly. Of course, the last one's going to give me issues. There it goes. There we have it. All of that work for a little tiny bowl of peaches. Or plums. Little tiny bowl of plums. Let's go see what it weighs in at. Weighed in at 2 pounds, 4 ounces. So we're done. Thanks for watching.